I think we did some good enough things in the first half, and then the second half, it was way more to their game. It's always a matter of control. Who can impose your will on the game? Whose game is having more of an impact to decide it? And it was pretty clear that their game, they were getting to it and dictating the tenor and feel much more than we were.
Our question was that 6-point swing there in that final minute where out of the three, the difficulty was.
Yeah, everything was happening so fast. Here's what I'll say is, Tyler has a fearlessness that you can't take for granted. He hits so many big shots. He wants to, take on anything, to help you win. And he's had a lot of big plays, offensively, especially in fourth quarters in his time with us. And it's my job now to also coach him in situational basketball. It was still a two-possession game. And regardless, we were going to have to get a stop, and it was set up to be, probably a decent 2-for-1 opportunity. But he's got a kill mentality. That wasn't a kill opportunity, at that point, and that's why, I love Tyler for his fearlessness. I also love him for his coachability, and it's my responsibility as the head coach to coach him through, situations, like this. But also it was that kind of play that, he came up with the ball, which was, was a great play. We made some really good plays, to make it stressful for them, but we needed a whole lot more of that, throughout the course of, the game, and in particular in the second half. They just really took control of it right at the start. I had to call 2 timeouts before 7 minutes went by in the third quarter, and it was because they were imposing, their will on the game.
Andrew looked like he still wasn't up to full speed and was sort of monitoring himself.
Yes, but he was better in the second half. And look, it's not easy being out and then all of a sudden going back in. If you're going back into a normal NBA game, he probably would have had a much better flow. This had a playoff feel to it. But I thought in the second half he was getting his legs underneath him. 27 minutes were fine. The trainers feel fine about that. I think he'll be, much better going forward.
At what point do you have to decide to look ahead to the play-in, which matters the most, versus maybe these final two?
We'll see. We all burned the boats, both teams, focusing on this game. I haven't thought about anything else. Our mindset was to get this game, and they played better than we did. They deserved it, and that's the biggest takeaway, from it. Even some of the ball in the air, ball on the floor plays. It wasn't just the transition, that they were getting. They outscored us in transition, 24-15. Those were energy plays, but that's their style. But even on the glass, they beat us ultimately. And loose balls, they won quite a few of those until that last skirmish at the end.
If you have to come back here exactly 1 week from now against this team, do you feel you can get a book on them and a better read after being swept in the season series?
Of course. We're competitors. I'll have a better answer for you if and when we get to that point. But, our focus will be finishing out the season strong, and then we're going to do whatever we need to do, to seize that opportunity to get in the playoffs. Thank you.